land, and there'd be people calling, like people in New York selling a piece of the American dream. For $50 down and $50 a month, you get a piece of the American dream. You get a piece of land in sunny Florida. And they would be like at all the airports, they'd be at all the train terminals, they'd have ads in the newspapers, and so people would call, and you're in New York and it's February, right? So, I mean, we had the Civil Aeronautics Board, you couldn't fly to New York for $200, it would cost you $1,000, so, it's February, you're freezing in New York, and you get this postcard with a scantily clad woman with alligators swimming around her, right? And you say, for $50 down and $50 a month, you can be part of this, And so you call a Watts line, right? You call an 800 number, and so Guy would the pressure sell you into this stuff, okay? So, but cities like the city of Deltona were built by Deltona Corporation, okay? So, okay, who knows where Monty's is in Coconut Grove? Okay, the big building across the street, that was General Development's headquarters, GDC. So, I mean, these companies existed into a, very, very recent. So, anyway, so the problem with these is these people would never meet the adequacy of down payment, right? So you get $50 down on a $6,000 lot, and they had continuing involvement because they're building out the clubhouses, and they promised you all these things they would build when they would get to a certain amount of all this stuff. Well, not occupancy, of sales. Okay, so in fact, I actually was involved in an audit of Lehigh Acres for like about a week or something. I'll tell you, it's a stupid story, but I go away for a week, and my brother calls me, tracks me down at the hotel, and he says, "Listen, I just got engaged." I said, "No." I said, "What happened?" I said, my sister-in-law would kill her. I go, "What happened?" I said, "Were you drinking?" And he's like, "No." I go, "Is she still there?" I go, "No, she went home." I said, "Do me a favor. Call her mother and tell her," there were no cell phones at the time. I go, "Listen, call her mother, tell her to call you when she gets home, and then when she gets home, just tell her it was a big mistake, that you thought about it and you want to change your mind." Oh, anyway, man. Sorry, they've been married 32 years now, a long time ago. So anyway, I was at Lehigh Acres, that's why I remembered this. But anyway, so the problem with the land, with the retail land companies is that they would never meet the adequacy of down payment either, or the continuing involvement. So again, no full accrual method of profit recognition, and in fact, most retail land companies wound up in a deposit method, okay? Because you really have nothing. $50, you haven't really made a sale. The guy signed a promissory note, but there's no real mortgage, there's no real guarantee. The guy could walk away. He's not at risk. He's not going to be at risk for a long time, okay? So, that's basically revenue recognition and sales and accounting for real estate sales. Any questions on that bit? Any questions on that bit?
Under retail, you said they never met adequacy of down payment.
And they usually got hung up with the fourth one, with continuing involvement, because maybe not all the infrastructure was built out. I remember Lehigh Acres had issues with, building capacity for like water treatment plants, golf courses, clubhouses that they had to build.
Yeah,
so they had not fulfilled all of the obligations that they had made, okay? Okay, no questions on this? Okay, so for the last section of the class, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you some background. I'm going to share all of this with you. So I'm going to send you all of this so you'll have it. So if you want to take notes, great. If you don't want to take notes, you're going to get this, okay? So this is information that I think is helpful as part of the program in general, but it's definitely going to be very helpful in order to do your next case study. And I would tell you the next two case studies kind of build on one another. They really will provide I think a good base for being able to work with accounting for and budgeting for real estate development costs, okay? So just a little bit of background. I mean, I say this all the time, and I always start by saying the real estate industry is a very capital-intensive industry, and as a result of that, we're always doing work with other parties that want to know what a project's going to look like. So, I mean, even before we get into accounting for how we're doing things, we've got to sort of prospectively forecast or budget, right? So if we want to entice a lender, if we want to entice a partner or a joint venture partner into a project, we've got to provide some sort of view or outlook on what it is that we want to accomplish. So, you know, at the end of the day, we've got a budget. We've got to find a way to create that perspective view that not only is going to entice people, it's going to allow us to plan, and it's going to allow us to monitor our process. So the budgeting process is a benchmarking process, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, where do we expect to be? How can we plan, right? And then the other one is, once we're underway, how are we performing in comparison to what our original estimations or forecasts were, right? And, you know, we typically prepare. I want to show you an example, and I'm going to send that example to you because you're going to do it as well. We typically prepare these forecasts sort of in a format of sources and uses statements, right? So we kind of really start with uses more than anything else. Where are we going to invest the money that we have, and then we got to somehow provide for those. So we've got to find the sources for all of those uses. What's typically, I mean, there's a bunch of applications out there. Are you still doing Argus Developer, or you're using Developer? Okay, so
no, we're doing both. We're doing.
Are you using Enterprise now?
We are.
Okay, because they've done away with DCF. They've done away with DCF, and
right. Replace it with Enterprise.
And Enterprise is like it's DCF and other stuff, right?
Yes.
I was on their website the other day, and I saw that they had migrated to. Is it a good tool?
Yeah.
So far, so good. Okay, good. Okay. So Argus Developer is a application that helps you with that. You can work with Excel as well. All right. So you can work with both. You can start with Argus, and Excel gives you a tremendous amount of flexibility. Ultimately, we are looking for this to cover the totality of the development process. Okay. And we typically, I think by experience, do this on a monthly basis. Some people may do it quarterly, but at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is plan. We want to plan. And ultimately, what was was it one of the biblical things? Who would plan to build a city without knowing what it was going to, what it would cost up front, right? Or who would fight a battle with 20,000 soldiers if